Straighten up. We're good.
Are we recording?
You're recording.
Very good. Welcome, everybody, to tonight's City of Tumwater Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, June 27th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And the meeting is called to order. Start with roll call. Commissioner Edwards. Here. Commissioner Kirkpatrick is excused. Commissioner Schumacher. Vice Chair Sullivan is online.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here. And me, Tristan Robbins. Are there any changes to our agenda? Let's go to approval of the minutes. We have three, some of them from a while ago. We can do them individually or as a, any comments, revisions, questions, any of the set of meeting minutes?
Commissioner Tobias, I move for approval of the meeting minutes from the Planning Commission meeting on February 28th, 2023, the Planning Commission meeting minutes on March 14th, 2023, and the Joint Planning Commission pre-board minutes from 2023.
Edwards? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve all three sets of meeting minutes. Thanks for the very detailed motion. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. They're all approved. Commissioners' reports.
I will be out on vacation in the end of July, so I will not be able to attend the July 25th Planning Commission meeting.
I just want to mention that I'm really pleased. I don't know exactly when it got adopted, but I'm really pleased to see the new logo for the city.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yay for whatever it took.
It was approved a couple months ago, then we're in the process of trying to get it on everything. So it's going to take a little while. We're also waiting for the new website to come up, hopefully in the next month or so. It will help also, so.
Yeah, very good.
We're trying to use it on more things.
Yeah, very good. Didn't want to leave anybody out. Okay, Commissioner.
I just wanted to put a shout out about the cool fireworks display and all the fun events that Tumwater has going on for the 4th of July. So it's always really exciting to see people get together and kind of Tumwater be the hub for that celebration.
Commissioner Tobias, did you?
Oh, I just had a question about the logo. So a number of years ago, where I went to college, they updated their logo, to both modernize it and make it more adaptable in graphic design settings. So is the logo, do you think, going to be more or have more utility in digital formats than?
I think it will. It simplified our letterhead a little bit, so I'll let you know as I'm using it.
Not seeing anybody else. Let's go to manager's report.
We're busy. I apologize. I would like to be able to elaborate a bit more. We have some internal things that are being sorted out at the moment, all of which affect you and what you're going to be working on in the next few months. So we expect to have some news for you in the next couple of days about how that's going to play out. We have to chat with the mayor about some stuff. So Oh, new city administrator has started, Lisa Parks. And so she hasn't left yet. She's been on the job for 2 weeks, and
All right.
Is that your litmus test, 2 weeks?
well, I figure if she can hang in for 2 weeks, she'll be here for a while.
Yeah, all right.
She is, as she admitted, buried, because we've been doing half-hour meetings on everything that she's responsible for, and she's in constant meetings, so.
Yeah.
But she does know what you're working on. We will see what her interests are. I haven't actually had a chance to figure out all the things that she will find important. But we'll let you know as soon as we do, and try to introduce her too when we get an opportunity.
Yeah. That it?
Mhm.
So, public comment. I see, Mr. Tuano from the Jolt News. Would you like to address the planning commission?
Hello, Jerome from the Jolt News. Yeah, so I don't really have any comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Did we have anyone else online, or did you hear from anybody?
No, we received no other public comments, and no one else is online or in person.
Okay. Very good. Let's go to our, eighth order of business, the preliminary docket for 2023 annual housekeeping amendments.
Yep, that's with me. So good evening. I have 2 presentations for you tonight. The first one is the 2023 Annual Development Code Housekeeping Amendments. This is our preliminary docket.
As I bring up the
And you will notice one slideshow or presentation is in the with the old logo, and then the last one actually has the new city logo. Alrighty.
All right. Okay.
All right, so for the last year and a half, staff has gathered feedback for the proposed updates from internal staff in the community on our Tumwater Municipal Code. And the proposed amendments are intended to make minor corrections to our development regulations. Another way to describe the minor amendments are changes that don't require individual ordinances. So, Tumwater Municipal Code 1860-25A, text amendment and rezones, establishes a process similar to the one the city will follow for our annual comprehensive plan amendment. A preliminary docket of the proposed amendments will be reviewed by you, the Planning Commission, for a recommendation to the City Council on amendments that will be part of our final docket. And once the City Council approves the contents of the final docket of code amendments, once they approve the final docket, staff will prepare an ordinance for consideration by Planning Commission and City Council this fall. So, general topics covered. It looks like we have 4 code updates. Manufactured home parks required open space. Staff have asked us to clarify open space requirements for mobile home parks that are exempt from divisions of land. Currently, the mobile home park language isn't included in our park and open space area standards for development without divisions of land. So mobile home parks in some situations don't require divisions for individual lots. So for those mobile home parks that don't have to go through subdivision, we want to clarify that they are required to provide park and open space standards.
In the list we created, we said multifamily, we said triplexes and so forth, but we didn't remember to include manufactured home parks.
Will, should I stop you now?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I'm curious whether, this will be retroactive, or, okay.
Only if a park redevelops and exceeds a certain monetary threshold by the improvements, otherwise.
The next topic is underground utility requirements. Staff have asked us to clarify new and existing utilities shall be installed underground and to establish an appeal process through the engineering services manager. C, Town Center Mixed Use Subdistrict First Floor Uses. We are to clarify the uses that would be allowed on the first floor of commercial and residential developments along main streets in the Town Center Mixed Use Subdistrict. As the code is written currently, it's unclear what uses would be allowed in this situation. D, building heights over 65 feet for specific industrial uses. We are to establish a conditional use permit process in the light industrial and heavy industrial zoning districts for certain uses exceeding 65 feet. To give you guys an idea, 65 feet is approximately 5 stories. For new uses, if they want to exceed that 65 feet, they would have to go through we're looking at establishing a conditional use permit process.
Essentially, we're going back to what it was before we made the amendments in 2017. Excuse me, lost track of what decade. There was previously a process for if you exceeded the height limit in a certain district, you can apply for a conditional use process, typically proving that, you know, your process needed the additional height or something like that. We eliminated that and increased the overall height in the zones, thinking that would take care of it. We have a couple of uses that probably need that flexibility in the industrial zone.
Just out of curiosity, is there a max height allowed in City Tumwater?
The maximum height is, I think, 85 feet in the Brewery District.
Because of the airport?
No, you're right. The airport does have height limits within certain areas, but we haven't tried to exceed 85 feet anywhere else in the city. We probably will have that discussion as part of the comprehensive plan update, though.
All right, next steps. We will meet for a work session on July 25th. We will go to the GCC and have a briefing with them on August 9th. And then we will go to City Council for consent agenda September 5th, 2023.
Now, the other thing that the Planning Commission can decide tonight is if you, again, this is just setting the docket, meaning these are the 4 items we'll consider. We'll come back with proposed code amendments as part of the final docket process. If you don't think we need to have a work session to discuss those 4 items going onto the docket, we could take your recommendation now and take that to the GDC without having to do a work session, further work session. If you think it's necessary, we're fine with doing that.
Would we do that without having seen what the language of the code amendments would be?
The language for the code amendments will become as part of the final docket process.
Okay.
This is like the comprehensive plan amendments. We're just, the Planning Commission is making a decision on what we're going to be looking at. The big topics, not the exact language.
Right. So we could just wrap it up and send our recommendation right here tonight and not have that as an agenda item.
Correct.
Okay. And then once we have our final docket, we will meet October 24th, work session November 14th, and a hearing November 28th.
The schedule would be advanced a little bit if you decide not to do the work session.
And then we will meet with City Council, the GGC, January 10th of 2024. We'll have a work session January 23rd and council consideration February 6th.
Would anything be lost if we decided to make that? Aside from an additional work session?
No, I don't, we have no other, we had a long list of amendments, and we all decided that it's really gonna have to go under the comp plan amendment, because they're a lot more convoluted. These were the easiest and fit the definition of what a housekeeping amendment is much more closely. So
Very
staff will
minor.
not come in with anything new. I cannot say that, because every time we do a simple housekeeping amendment, we have controversy. The potential for controversy is always there. Nobody said anything that makes me worried yet.
Okay, good point.
One of my thoughts is, what would Terry Kirkpatrick ask? I always look to him because he always has so many good questions. And I know he's not in the room tonight.
We know when he would be back, and that might be, back by a month from now, and that would give.
Oh, that's at the 11th. Move that decision to the 11th
Okay.
of July, to allow the commissioners not present the opportunity to.
Moved and seconded to move our decision about whether to forward a recommendation about our docket to the General Government Committee, and postpone that to our Planning Commission meeting for July 11th, so that we can make sure everybody gets a chance.
Brad, what do we currently have on the agenda for the July 11th?
That is up right now for discussion. We'll know by the end of the week what that will look like.
Okay, just want to make sure it wouldn't crowd out, stuff.
No, my thought is, I don't think we would have anything currently on the agenda, but if we move this to that date, then that will be part of it.
What about the hazard mitigation?
Oh, and the hazard mitigation plan, thank you. I was
Yeah.
trying to remember, so we just have two items. If we bring this one over, that shouldn't cause a problem.
Other discussion on the motion? Moved and seconded to postpone our recommendation to the General Government Committee to our July 11th meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I didn't vote. I'm not opposed. I was still thinking about what it meant. I was rereading what the staff asked us to do, which was either schedule a work session or forward a recommendation. So just to clarify, what y'all just voted in favor of is that we decide on the 11th, whether or not we want a work session on the 25th. Is that what the vote was?
Yes.
I vote in favor. Sorry about my lateness. Thank you.
No, you're good. Thanks for clarifying. All right. We will take this up again on the 11th.
All right, for our next topic this evening, we're going to talk about the community engagement plan for the City of Tumwater's 2023-2025 comprehensive plan update. Brad and I worked with staff, and staff voted on a slogan for our comprehensive plan update. We came up with balancing nature and community, Tumwater's path to sustainable growth. And as you guys notice, we have our new format for our presentations up there. I think it looks really nice. All right, next slide.
I was all excited about that.
So we've talked a few times this year since I started about the comprehensive plan and the public engagement. That was our draft public engagement plan. This is the final. public engagement plan. Just to give some background information on the 2025 comprehensive plan update. Every 10 years, the city is required to conduct a periodic update of its comprehensive plan, also known as the city plan, and the development regulations to ensure it complies with the GMA, or Growth Management Act. The primary purpose of the periodic update is to ensure plans and regulations are consistent with recent changes to state law and updates to the countywide planning policies. Legislature's been very busy this year, so we have our work cut out for us. And Washington State also just passed a new law changing the periodic update from every 8 years to 10 years after this cycle. So the next update will be in 2035 with a progress report in 2030. The last update was completed in 2016. And let's see. The updated comprehensive plan will address diversity, equity, inclusion throughout the plan and incorporate climate mitigation, adaptation, and sustainability goals. And the GMA requires that jurisdictions use a 20-year population projection from the Washington State Office of Financial Management. Yeah, OFM. These projections are developed every 5 years. All right.
Erica, when you say there's a, like an, in the new period of city for comp plan updates, the progress report, is that submitted to somebody, or is that
Commerce.
We actually need to read the requirements because it's a brand new one. My assumption is it'll probably go to Commerce because Commerce reviews what we do. The language isn't necessarily approves what we do. They just sort of comment and have suggestions, but the suggestions have weight of law. So my assumption is we'll have a 5-year report of some format that they probably haven't developed yet. What we report on, I'm not sure. So we'll see.
Yeah, I took some training with Commerce, and they are to provide guidance at a later time.
Okay. Oh, that's specified in the law too.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that were passed this year that say Commerce will provide guidance. In a lot of cases, the due date for what we need to do is before we get the guidance. So we will see how that works.
All right.
Yeah, we will meet and talk about the comprehensive plan update. This is just the public engagement portion of it. We'll be talking about this a lot in the next few years. So what is a community engagement plan? State law requires each Washington city and county to establish a public participation program for revisions to the comprehensive plan. The engagement plan will help the city establish how it will engage the community throughout the update using an IAP2 process. IAP2 stands for the International Association for Public Participation. The process uses a spectrum of public participation and 5 levels of engagement. There's inform, consult, involve, collaborate, and empower. And then based on a preliminary meeting with our communications team, our 2025 comprehensive plan update, engagement plan scored evaluation at the involve and collaborate levels. So that means workshops, deliberate polling, citizen advisory committees, focus groups, surveys, and public meetings. It's basically a way for us to look at what we are updating, identifying stakeholders, specific groups of the community, and what kind of open house and public engagement we want from those stakeholders and community members.
And the city council essentially will take the empower role. They'll make the final decision, taking your recommendation and so forth. So that's how the process will work here.
Our next slide. We have 10 community engagement goals. We are going to provide information to the community and provide an understanding or help explain issues for the update process. Seek early and continuous involvement, offer opportunities for the community to provide feedback, develop accessible, equitable, and engaging plan, make community-driven planning the priority, highlight projects implemented since the last comprehensive plan in 2016. We are going to use a phased, flexible approach as things come up within the city and different departments, different opportunities to be involved with the community. Integrate and consolidate goals from all the elements of the plan and the resource plans. Develop a comprehensive plan that is easy to read and in an understandable format. Because the periodic update is only going to happen every 10 years, it's important that we reach out to the community and stakeholders and inform them that this is the best opportunity for them to work with the city and to let us know their visions and priorities over the next decade.
So, quick question, are there specific metrics tied to these engagement goals? So percent for the population, we have this many poll responses, we have this many open houses, this many participants. Is there something to track, you know, that we are getting the message out there, or just the opportunity to, is sufficient measurement?
I think for the most part, we're going to rely on opportunity. One of the things that we've found is that it's, unless we do a full-blown scientific-based survey, which is timely and expensive, it's very hard to measure how well we're getting out there. And it really depends on, I think, on the topics that either people get really excited about for negative or positive reasons, and their interest level in that. If they feel that there's nothing truly demanding that's coming out of the process, they won't pay much attention to it. If there are things in there that they think that, you know, affect them and their community more than others, they will probably show more interest.
There's nothing driven by the RCW or by the Department of Commerce decision?
No, nothing specific like thou shalt have 20% of your population respond positively, no. At the same time, when we make, you know, if we present something to the council, we want to be able to say with a straight face that we did our best to make sure people knew what was going on, and we knew there was, well, the stakeholders we had to reach out to and do all this kind of stuff. So it's on us to feel that we're comfortable in presenting that to the council. That's, I guess, not a perfect thing, but that's kind of how we're working.
That makes sense. I just wasn't sure if there was something driving that.
No.
Yeah, there are 11 elements of the comprehensive plan update, so it will be up to me and Brad to go through those different elements and the updates and help inform the public on what that means and how it affects them and why they should be involved.
I'm wondering if there's because there's such an enormous amount of time, even now, before the new cycle starts. 8 years is a long time, 10 years is even longer. Even 1 year for a lot of people is a long time to hear about stuff, you know, move in, move out, things have happened before they got here or whatever other kind of circumstances. And I'm wondering if part of the community engagement plan could have some sort of a continuous outreach in some way, probably mostly digital, you know, through the webpage or through a, you know, social media presence or whatever, but some way for people to be polled or surveyed, or more than just, you know, kind of the ordinary, we'll come to a meeting that you.
Yeah,
It's a long time.
There's a couple parts to that. I think number one, we definitely want to tie what we're doing now as part of the update into everything that we've done in the past 5 to 10 years. Because we didn't get to where we are now without a lot of work and a lot of, you know, structure that we've already discussed and so forth. So we want to make sure that we reach back to those things. I think it's a great idea to propose as part of the plan more frequent touching points or other, you know, things that we could propose to do just to make sure that things are coming along as we would like them to, rather than wait for the 5-year report or the 10-year update. So
Maybe it has to, I mean, you're presumably, there's still an annual amendment process too, right?
Correct.
So,
There isn't necessarily a required annual reporting process.
no, but
That's something I think we could definitely talk about as part of
the
this.
city could still take it on as a method for, getting that engagement to help inform, you know, as we move, you know, a lot shifts and changes in all of that time. So, yeah, that just like a problem area if we don't have something.
Yeah, after this slide, I will go into the specific methods we're proposing to use. I did a lot of research, comprehensive plans across the state in different cities, and kind of took a look at what they're doing as far as public engagement, how to get people involved and interested. So we will go into more specifics into how we plan on doing that in the next 2 slides as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You may answer my question, so I'll hold it till after the next.
Okay. Okay.
Need all the help I can get.
Yeah, so a lot of this might, we might kind of talk about the same processes or same things multiple times, but how will the city engage and consult with the community? We are going to have public hearings, work sessions, and briefings that will follow the state law and Tumwater Municipal Code notification requirements. And then staff will reach out to internal stakeholders and stakeholder groups found in Appendix A of the staff report. When we met back in February or March, we got comment back from the Planning Commission on some of those stakeholders. And then we also worked with our communications team to get that updated list. And then throughout each element, staff will use the IAP2 process to identify target audiences and stakeholders. Staff will also utilize an email contact list. We will have a periodic update webpage specific for the comprehensive plan amendment. We will use social media, surveys, news releases, and open houses. Like I had said a little bit earlier, there are 11 elements. There's the capital facilities plan, the conservation plan, economic development plan, there's housing, Tumwater Thurston County Joint Plan, land use, lands for public purposes, parks, recreation, and open space, the Shoreline Master Program, transportation, and utilities. Each element might require different levels of public participation, depending on what state law says and stakeholder groups and the community members that would be involved.
So the housing, transportation, and land use elements are probably going to receive the most attention because those are probably the core of what the update will deal with. The Parks and Rec plan will probably be held off until a later date to update at another time. We will be looking at updating the economic development plan with our new economic development manager. He has some things he would like to incorporate into that, so that will be part of it. And the other elements sort of fall in between there. Shoreline Master Program, we probably won't be opening, thankfully, because we updated that very recently. So we've met the checkbox for the state law for that. Same thing with the joint plan. We're done with that, I think, for the time being. We'll do with regulations on that side.
All right, now we are diving into the specific methods that we will be using. City staff have an email contact list that we maintain of interested community members and community stakeholders who will be notified of our key meetings and other information related to the update. The city's established email list will be used to communicate with those individuals. Also, staff are working with the communications team to develop a QR code for easy access to our comprehensive plan update webpage, where we can get the public to sign up for email notifications as well. We want to make it easy to access our website and to get signed up if they are interested. And the next one, I think we skipped one.
Oops, I got all excited, sorry.
It's that keyboard. And we will have City Council and Planning Commission discussions Staff will present information on the update process and the community engagement effort throughout the whole process update. The community will be notified of key meetings and open houses multiple ways using our periodic update webpage, social media, Tumwater On Tap e-newsletter, and the city email contact list.
So, for example, when we start looking at the land use element, we'll be using the planning commission as the primary means for, reviewing that. We'll have it's sort of, I don't want to say informal, but it's not part of the formal adoption process. It will be, here's what we have. Let's review the particular policies and goals. Are they still relevant? And various other elements that make up that plan. Have been discussions at the planning commission level about that. Move on to the next element and so forth. And then when we come to the formal adoption process, then we'll come back and say, here's what we discussed and here how we address things. Are you okay with that? And if so, recommendation to the council.
All right, next one, surveys. We are going to utilize online surveys posted to our periodic update webpage to assess community priorities. The vision, goals, and policies in the existing 2016 comprehensive plan will serve as a starting point when we're developing the survey questions. In 2016, the community goals for that existing for the 2016 plan was provide more transportation choices, promote equitable, affordable housing, enhance economic opportunity, and value communities and neighborhoods. Staff are going to recreate a survey that was mailed out in 2017, the Share Your Vision for Tumwater. This was a pamphlet that was mailed, and then they mailed it or provided it back to us. They wrote on it. So we're going to redo that to an electronic version. Community members will be notified of surveys via email, our webpage, our social media platforms, and other means. Yeah.
For other means, are there any, I guess, for lack of a better term, non-technological ways that people would get a hold of, like pamphlets or mail flyers or things posted some places?
We're definitely exploring some other options because we realize not everybody has electronic access.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're trying to see if we can do some informal meeting around the community outside of this structure to try to get at that as well.
Yeah, in the open houses, I do hope to have, depending on what we're discussing, an option for people to vote or provide comment or take like a survey. It's just in 2016, I think they mailed it out with the utility bill, if I'm not mistaken. It was part of the utility bill notice or some sort. So we kind of want to just have this be its own individual thing when we are notifying the public.
The good thing was that we kept everything from the last update. So
Yeah.
we have a stack of all the responses, which has been very helpful, actually.
Mm-hmm. In 2016, they also did phone call surveys. So I think they had someone call citizens. I don't know if it was planned or at random.
We had an intern, I believe.
Intern?
This was before I came on board, but it looks like they had an intern lead the effort on the phone calling.
Yeah.
And also tabulating all the written responses.
Okay.
If you know of anybody.
Maybe some volunteer. All right. Our periodic update webpage.
Well, just before we get to that,
Yeah.
I was just thinking that, for volunteer phone calling or other kind of more personal, outreach, maybe there are students, like in the high school level, that are looking to do some community service type of activities to get credit for.
We definitely know
That
we want to
exactly.
reach out to the civics classes and other things.
Sure.
All right, throughout the comprehensive plan update, We will be posting all of our materials, meeting notes, presentations online to our webpage. The webpage will include a list of frequently asked questions, information about the comprehensive plan update, what it is, giving a summary, and then providing meeting times and information. I thought of some new proposals I would like to add to our webpage. That includes a staff introduction section. I'm still trying to get Brad on board with posting a picture and having a little bio, so people can get to know us on a personal level. An interactive map of meeting location and times and visuals. And then something else, while I was researching other jurisdictions, they had a section for the communities to sign up to request a meeting with staff, essentially. So like the HOAs, if they had questions or concerns, we could set up a meeting to meet with them and talk with them. And then there will be a section to sign up for email notifications.
Our communication staff has shown us some very simple apps we could use for interactive things. So we're really kind of excited about it because it's done a lot of time for us to, in the background, to set stuff up to make it usable, and it's easy for people to try that.
All right. So other than our actual our city web page, we will be utilizing social media and news releases. We will update. I'm not quite sure how many social media platforms we have. Do you know?
We have 3. I want to say Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Yeah, we're going to check with communications.
Those are the basics.
Yeah. Yeah, so we will be posting updates and giving notice of meeting times and locations. We were also thinking of working with community partners to share updates and surveys, maybe cross-referencing other jurisdictions such as the county or Tumwater Chamber of Commerce, the Tumwater School District, because one thing I've noticed, especially with myself, is I'm not following every jurisdiction. Being a Thurston County resident, you know, so if we could utilize or work with other municipalities or jurisdictions to share information, I think that would be a great way to reach out to more people. But we will continue to work with our communications team for media and information sharing. Open houses. So open houses, these are different from our planning commission meetings and our city council meetings. It's more of an informal way to talk with the public and stakeholders about issues and updates and talk about goals and visions and what they'd like to see as part of the comprehensive plan update. These presentations are meant to meet people where they are. That's also why I like the idea of putting on our webpage the option to request a meeting with staff in case people can't make evenings. So if they have kids who have sports after school, for any reason they can't come to Planning Commission or City Council, I think that's a great option for them. We will be posting about our open houses through news releases, our social media platforms, our periodic update webpage, and sending out the information to our email contact list. I believe the city maintains multiple lists for different stakeholder groups, so depending on what we're discussing. Let's see. I also had talked with communications to see if we can create stickers, pens, or some kind of, or create or have an incentive for people if they do sign up to get notifications or if they do participate in our open houses. I just think it would be nice for them to have something, especially because we have that nice new logo. Yeah, little pins, a balloon, but it depends. And then also, yeah, going back to the QR code, it's easy for people to scan something. I heard a lot of people don't like to take surveys right then and there, especially if it's at like a fair or something. So it's easy for someone to scan the QR code and it brings up the web page and then they can get back to it later. And we are working with other city departments and the communications team to identify opportunities for information booths at city-sponsored events.
Not Brewfest.
And not 4th of July. We're not gonna make that. No.
Brewfest was very interesting when we had a booth there for the climate mitigation plan. Every other event we'll be thinking about stuff.
There's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
They're probably very distracted.
Outreach is really tough, no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're gonna make it fun and it's gonna be engaging, right? Yeah, so if you ever see us out and about.
Yeah.
So I wrote it down because I don't want to muddle it up, but Commissioner Robbins earlier mentioned the point regarding outreach on a continual basis.
Yeah.
And having some of those touch points, so that's just building towards that comp plan for the 5-year review or the data input and then the 10-year. Are there plans to connect with agencies that most frequently interact with those individuals coming in? So like the Department of Licensing in particular, where someone will have to buck new license, rental companies and moving companies would probably be a pretty good source, specifically for the area if we can key into them. People moving in, it's a good opportunity to touch base with them off of that. And then is there any discussion using the post office when they get a change of address request? Can we connect that to, okay, here's who's coming in, we can provide that information to them. You may get a small percent, but that may be a good opportunity to engage with them at every touch point along the way.
That is a great suggestion. I think part of my original draft plan, I had talked about maybe working with real estate agents and creating kind of like an informational pamphlet or something that they could hand out for people buying or selling in the city of Tumwater. This is very flexible and we're always open to suggestions. This is going to be ongoing outreach. That's a great, yeah. Great.
I think it's, what I'd like to do is take it back to our communications folks as well, because it makes a lot more sense to do a lot of things with one thing. So if we're gonna reach out to new residents, let's talk about a bunch of things. You know, number one, how do you pay your water bill? Or, you know, all those basics. If you have basic questions about anything that we do, go here. If you want to find out about this, that kind of thing. So I think that's a good opportunity to sort of add that to that list.
Yeah, other jurisdictions do have a welcome to their city with kind of all that information that Brad had just said. So that is something we could talk or discuss with communications about. And up here on the screen is, I took from our 2016 comprehensive plan, a little screenshot of all the public participation that was done up through May 19th of 2016. There was another little graph in that document, but this one I just wanted to show you what they utilized. So this is where they used the utility bill insert questionnaire in the winter of 2016, and then in January and February is when they conducted the telephone surveys. They had school board coffee talks. I love coffee, avid coffee drinker, so I'm okay with that, as long as I don't drink too much. And so, yeah, a lot of coffee talks with a lot of different groups of people. So this kind of gives you an idea. We will be documenting and tracking our public engagement throughout the process. Again, we will work with you guys, give you guys updates, the city council updates, and then we document it as part of the update itself, so.
I think that would be great. For example, you know, if we, and maybe as a sort of a standing item on our planning commission agenda to just, what have you been hearing while you're out and about? Maybe it's part of manager's report or something like that.
All right. So timeline for community engagement. We are in phase 1 right now. Brad and I will start reviewing the vision, goals, and policies in the existing comprehensive plan. I touched base on that earlier in the presentation. And we're going to start prepare a gap analysis of the comprehensive plan elements and plans. I do believe Commerce is working on updated guidance as well to get to us. And then we are hoping, well, the community and stakeholders will be introduced to the periodic update through a series of communications. And then we're going to start doing our surveys, talking about the comprehensive plan, vision, goals, and policies. Basically, we are ready to start our public engagement between now and the winter, or hopefully, yeah. And then the next slide kind of goes over, we have an expected or hopeful launch date for our website by the end of July. We took some training on how to update our webpage earlier this week. Or was that last week? That was last week. Yeah. And then our first public outreach meeting is projected for August. And of course we can.
What that will actually look like is, we'll tell you next time.
Yeah. Right. Phase 2, between winter and spring. We are going to gather feedback that we receive through our engagement process and incorporate it into our draft comprehensive plan elements and plans. We will present the draft language to the city advisory boards and commissions, as well as focus groups for their review and responses. Yeah. Brad is more familiar with this process, plan development.
So this is just more detail on the actual development of plan, very similar to what we talked about. We'll be taking bits and pieces of it, bringing it to you for further discussion, bringing the community along at the same time with specific items. It was, as we mentioned,
The comp plan itself, not, or the community engagement plan.
the comprehensive plan itself. So we will be discussing all those exciting things, like we're planning for a lot of new people coming and a lot of new housing. How are we going to accommodate it? Yeah, we'll have some substantial things to talk about.
Oh, good.
So, in the first bullet point here, it mentions focus groups of technical experts will review the comprehensive plans, plans that are not represented through the city's board and commissions. Where will those technical experts be sourced from? Will they be from those city boards and commissions, or will they be from outside partners?
Probably outside partners, and I'm thinking things like the transportation plan. We're going to have a consultant help us develop the plan, but we'll probably have some stakeholders that have transportation background experience, sort of provide input on general things. We'll be obviously bringing this to the planning commission as well, but there are some things that we also want outside technical advice with. That also means updating our economic development plan. We will probably want to talk to the same technical person who helped us, basically all the data that went into the plan. We want to update that. So that's what we mean by going to the technical expert. There are some specific things that staff doesn't have the training in to do. So we want to make sure we involve those people.
And then, yep, phase 3 is going to start the legislative process. That's summer of 2024 through June of 2025. The comprehensive plan update itself is due by June 30th, 2025. And again, what this is basically saying is throughout the process, community will be notified and updated. The planning commission will be updated. City council will be updated on the public engagement as well as the comprehensive plan update itself.
Also, the important thing is on the legislative process, we do have statutory requirements for noticing. So we will be following all those things as well. So, but at the same time, everything that, we're going to be noticing everything. But this is just to highlight the ones that we are required by state law to do. Then the council will follow a similar process as well for the adoption itself. And everything will magically wrap up by June 30th.
Yeah, so like I said, we'll be talking about it quite a bit for the next 2 years.
We do have a specific email for anybody with questions on the comp plan, so that is set up. It's just complan@city. And also, similar to what the website we've had for the tree updates, all the documents we have, all the meeting minutes, recordings and so forth, we'll put on the website. It would all be in one location.
Alrighty, that concludes the public engagement plan for our comprehensive. Yeah.
Gone into that, thank you. Comments, anybody? I go to Megan first, so we don't leave. Megan, do you have anything you want to add?
I do not.
Not here in the room.
I'm with you on the new logo.
You want more bling on it?
You
or-
want a community engagement plan for that?
It would need more discussion on that.
Okay.
But we anticipate the first coffee clutch meeting will be at Megan's house. We'll
Okay.
let Megan know when.
Other discussion?
We do anticipate coming back to you in the second meeting in July to talk further about specific, basically lay out, here's the next schedule of the meetings we're going to have, and also what we're really going to start talking in depth about. On the staff side, we're still figuring that out. And I apologize that we haven't laid all this out yet, but our intent is to give you as much information on what we're going to do next possible, and that'll be the first step of that.
And hopefully we'll have our website.
Yep. Now, this plan will be going to the city council next month for their blessing. So we're under the assumption this is the plan we're going to use going forward to guide what we're doing. So now it's just the work.
Working it. Okay. Did you need an action out of us beyond, for that?
No, I don't think so, unless you think this is okay, that to move forward to the city council, that would be okay.
I don't know that we do need to do that, but, I don't know, how does the group feel? Do we want to recommend anything, or, I mean, I'm good with it moving forward as is. Okay. All right, thanks, Erica. Two good briefings, thank you. Let's see, our next meeting is, July 11th. It's the joint work session with the tree board, but somehow we're gonna have to fit in, Brad, a brief discussion and whether to take action on, scheduling another workshop, or, forwarding our recommendation on the spot. So I don't know where we're gonna scrunch it in.
We'll have an email going out to the planning commission by the end of this week on next steps on everything, along with a schedule going forward, so.
Okay. Any other thoughts before I look for another motion? Commissioner Barilla.
Move to adjourn?
Hope.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. Okay, very good. To adjourn our meeting tonight, we've had a a quick one, but it was
Yeah.
very thorough. Okay, everybody in favor of adjourning tonight, please say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Anybody opposed wants to stick around? We are adjourned. Thank you.